It's the biggest day of the year, not only for English domestic rugby, but for club rugby anywhere in the world. Over the next few hours, 75,000 people will stream into Twickenham, the largest crowd for a club match ever. They've come to see Pilkington Day, the Silver Jubilee final of the Pilkington Cup, along with the Shield final. Hello there and welcome to you. Well, over the next 5 hours or so, we have a real feast of rugby for you on Sky Sports. The build-up to the Silver Jubilee Cup final, 3 hours of action on the field, plus analysis from our expert team. And here's how the day breaks down. In just a couple of minutes' time, we'll be bringing you the whole of the Pilkington Shield final, live for the first time ever on television. Helston against Medicals kicks off at midday. Straight after the game, we begin our build-up to the main feature, the Cup final. Our team has spent the week watching both sides prepare for the showdown of the season. Kick-off for the Jubilee Cup final is at 3 o'clock. So very shortly the teams will be on their way out for that Pilkington Shield final. Let's now join our match commentator, Bob Simmons.
Thank you very much indeed, David. Yes, well, you can imagine the anticipation in the dressing room of these two teams now as they await to come onto the field. 512 clubs started out in round one of this Shield competition back on September the 9th. This is the world's largest rugby knockout competition. It's the junior clubs who take centre stage at the start of the day. 512 of them, as I say, at county level, and it's Helston from Cornwall, Division 1, and the Medicals from Newcastle, Durham and Northumberland, Division 1, who've actually made it through to the final. Just 750 tickets apiece for these two teams for this showpiece final. The third time it's been played on Cup Final Day. This is the last year of a £300,000 sponsorship deal by Pilkington. Next year the game switches to the day of the Intermediate Cup Final, so at least they'll be able to have more supporters to look after the players and to drive the players on in this final. But this is a great day for them, and what a prospect of playing on this field. The crowd will obviously fill up as the game carries on. Here are the Medicals then from Newcastle, led onto the field by one of the youngest players on the field, 21-year-old Dave Booth, the captain. Now Middlesex and Twickenham in particular has been like a second home to the men from Cornwall over the years, with their appearances, of course, in the county championship final. If they'd been able to have thousands of tickets, well, they'd have taken them, I can tell you. And they're sure to get a big welcome from their supporters who begged and borrowed tickets from contacts all over the country for this game. Led out onto the field by their fullback Mark Hocking. Helston in the blue and white. Helston, to help your geography, a town in Cornwall just 10 miles south of Redruth. The town that also plays host to the Royal Navy, who have their Fleet Air Arm base at Culdrose just down the road. The Medicals getting psyched up, ready for the start of this game. The biggest day in their history. They're coming up to the centenary, while on the other hand, Helston, just 30 years old, the club this year. We're awaiting the anthems before we get the game underway. Referee John Pearson just calling the two sides into the middle. With me, Jamie Salmon. What a day for these local club players, Jamie.
Yes, absolutely right, Bob. It's marvellous that they get the opportunity to be here at Twickenham on such a showpiece occasion. And certainly, as you say, Helston being here a few times, and for Medicals a special day, being the first time they're here.
So we wait then the national anthem. So before we get underway then, let's catch up with the two teams. First of all, Helston and the Cornishman field what can only be described as a mature side. 9 of these players are aged 30 or over, and 2, centre Dave Savage and outside half Dave Lockwood, have passed the 40 mark. There's a very strong Navy element in this side with Culdrose locally, and number 4 Phil Elliott has played for the Navy here on 7 previous occasions, the only man on both sides who's savoured the atmosphere here before. Well, the Medicals, as you would expect, a much younger combination. 8 of these players are dentists or dental students. That could be very handy indeed. They have a small pack, so expect them to move the ball about as much as possible. So John Pearson, making his second appearance in 2 years here at Twickenham, refereed the Pilkington Cup final last season. So it's Dave Lockwood then, who gets the game underway for Helston. Not quite reaching the 10-metre line. Referee John Pearson just waiting for an advantage to the Medicals. They get it. Matt Bonner, 2 tall men playing at outside half in this game. Not a good start by him though, out immediately on the ball.
Well, there's bound to be a few nerves in these early stages, Bob, I'm sure of that. It's their first touch on the hallowed turf, and they're going to be a bit nervous, obviously. But I think once both sides settle down and get into some rhythm of the game and get their tactics employed, then and they get all going to touch, get involved in the game, they'll relax that bit more.
Rob Eagle then, the hookup for Helston, and Phil Elliott jumping at 2 will be the main man for them in the line-outs. But first ball goes to Chris Johns, not well timed and taken in well there by Dave Reeve for the Medicals. Burst into the line, just looking now both sides to get rid of those early bit of nerves. But certainly we can expect the Medicals to run the ball from almost everywhere as long as they get the possession.
Yes, as you rightly say, they've got to get quality ball. Certainly Marriott, the fullback, came in at great pace there. He looks one to watch this afternoon. But really, Helston with this superiority in the pack, really, they would expect the bulk share of the ball.
Advantage in the weight, but also in experience. John Pearson will want both sides to get the ball away quickly from this position. That's Dave Knox, the scrum half. Good kick, well taken though, on the right wing, there by Angus Cragg. Referee John Pearson, very much a believer in the crime prevention policy, as well as being a policeman. Wants to try and stop players infringing. And we can be sure he'll talk more than anybody else on this field this afternoon.
Yes, he'll want to get the ground rules laid down pretty early doors to make sure that there can be an attractive, expansive game.
So, early attacking opportunity then, as the Medical skipper Dave Booth looks on in the middle of the line-outs. Finally back for Simon Tregonning on the Helston side. But so far, Helston have not thrown the ball directly into Elliott at the front. The Medicals know all about him, and maybe trying alternative things first of all, Helston. Booth gets first touch that time for the Medicals. Slice again, there by Matthew Bonner, taking a little bit of time to settle. He's the goal kicker in their ranks and can kick huge goals from long range. But at the moment, he and his Medical teammates are having to defend. Important now for the sides here to get first blood. This time for Elliott, beaten to it though. Booth had moved up into the line to counteract him there. But all the early pressure coming from Helston.
Yes, it certainly is, and Medicals having difficulty clearing the ball. You mentioned Lockwood, he sliced a couple, and certainly he'll want his goal kicks to go a bit straighter than those clearing kicks, and they're having real bother just getting out of this danger area.
So this time then, it's a throw for the Medicals. Well taken there by Booth. Fine throw to him too by Simon Atkinson. Dave Knox caught offside. The referee happy to let play continue. Again, it's hooking now then on the counter-attack for Helston. That's a pretty useful kick, but the referee is going to play. Just waiting for an advantage, in fact, for the Medicals.
Well, this might be the chance now for Medicals to get out of their own half. They've been pegged back in these early stages of this match, and certainly Bonner will be a lot happier to see one go over the white line.
Taking it up then, almost to halfway again. Matt Bonner waits then. Newcastle, Medicals rather, have done very well so far in the line-out. They move their jumpers around, bringing Rich Kozlowski. There we see him, number 6, up from the flank to jump at number 2 very often. That ball was knocked forward though. Again, John Pearson waits to see if the Helston side can get the ball. They can't. The ball, in fact, wasn't straight in the first place going into the line-out. A scrum then to Helston, and maybe we'll see their backs getting a touch of the ball for the first time. Quite a battle on that side between Henry Cave. What a good name that is for a prop, isn't it? The Caveman on this side for the Medicals. Prop him against another interesting character, Sid Savas, Scotsman with a Greek name, on the loose head for Helston. This time it's the Medicals who are penalised for collapsing it. It's Simon Atkinson, the hooker, in fact, who's penalised there. And we have the first shot at goal in this game from the boots of David Lockwood. Almost on halfway, but this one well within his range.
Well, the Medicals didn't help themselves with that scrummage. Certainly two of the back row disappeared pretty quickly from the set piece, which obviously put the pressure on the other 6. Couldn't hold it up, and John Pearson was absolutely right to award this penalty.
Dave Lockwood, a PE teacher at Helston School, who's actually taught quite a few of the lads playing alongside him in this team today. Also the club chairman, David Lockwood, and the coach to the backs. All the players do all the jobs, obviously, at little clubs like Helston. Big kick this one then for Dave Lockwood and for Helston. That's well struck. Oh, so unlucky. Wow, what a tremendous kick that was.
A marvellous effort indeed. It's a great pity for him, because he'd have remembered that one for a long, long time. As we see it superbly struck, it really was. And it just didn't have the distance by a matter of inches. But a great effort, and certainly it'll give him a lot of confidence for the rest of the game.
Certainly the bright start then by Helston in this game. This time the first successful catch for Elliott, the experienced 38-year-old from the Navy. Up and under this time then from Lockwood. That's a huge one. Down to Mark Marriott. First knock-on actually came, I think, on the Newcastle Medical side. It certainly did. So here's a great chance then for Helston.
It certainly is an excellent position scrummage-wise, and tactically it looks like Helston are quite happy just playing a territorial game. They're not releasing the ball out to the backs.
That's Cornish rugby for you. Certainly to start with. Dave Knox opening us up for Lockwood. The kick there for Mark Busby. Just a little too strong though, as Mark Marriott, the fullback, went across. But Lockwood, certainly a key man in the strategy for Helston.
Yes, he certainly is. As I mentioned before, they seem to be relying on a kicking game, and certainly Medicals will have to try and change that and disrupt their rhythm.
And if we come back live, that's exactly what they've done. Quickly taken kick, but good clearance by Mark Hocking, the fullback and skipper for Helston.
That's good play by Medicals. They've got to do something different. They've got to make sure Helston don't settle into a rhythm and their own game plan of their own choice and play the game at their pace. It's important that Medicals disrupt that as much as possible and create as much loose play as they possibly can.
So, starting from the line-up there. Simon Atkinson. Not a good one though. And it's Hannaford leading the charge away, back again into the Medicals half. Dave Knox. That one a little too long, and inside the 22 this time for Mark Marriott to claim the mark. Good kick that time by Mark Marriott. one of the non-medicals in this medical team, a geography student at Newcastle University. So, medicals then just about shading it early on. And that'll be quite a bonus for them against Chris Johns there with a headband in the middle and Phil Elliott. Helston were expected to dominate this phase of play. Knocked on by medicals. Again, John Pearson waiting for an advantage as he also checks the offside. Lockwood. Again, the kick then for Busby to chase. Not a good bounce for Richard Fretwell either. Fretwell, the left winger, very tall man, might well get a chance in attack later on, but his defence certainly tested that time from the kick here. Dave Lockwood having certainly more touches than anybody on the field at the moment.
Well, certainly a lot more than his centres outside him, that's for sure, Bob, because they haven't got a touch at all, and certainly, you know, playing on such a big occasion, they'll want to get a touch to get involved in the game, and they must be getting a bit frustrated because they've had a lot of ball.
Day for frostbite as well in the centres today. It's pretty cold. They're having to defend Helston for the moment. Nasty bouncing ball for England, needing a little bit of bother, but Elliott, the experienced man, looking to turn it onto his own side. He's done that successfully. Knocks back again then. Long kick by Lockwood. So here's Richard Fretwell. Good support too by Mark Hocking there. This is where medicals are going to be dangerous, but just letting themselves down a little there with that pass.
Yes, indeed, but quite right having a go in terms of counter-attacking. Marriott, the fullback I mentioned earlier, but it just went forward. And Helston will be mighty relieved to make sure they've got this scrum, and therefore can once again have this aerial bombardment going down on medicals.
So we've had the opening 10 minutes or so then. Both sides starting to relax a little bit more maybe. Savas, the loose head prop. Now Dave knocks the scrum half, wants the ball back cleanly. Going on his own, looking to link back to strength again. But a wrong option before the medicals again get themselves into a wee bit of bother. So Richard Fretwell, they describe him in the medicals lineup as John Olomu minus 10 stone. So, just outside the 22 then, Rob Eagle for Helston. Again, not a good throw. Helston lucky to get away with that one. Dave Knox just has a quick look to see if there's a chance. Over on that side, links again with Rob Eagle. The corner side scrapping away well though for Savas, and finally releases the ball. And at last, Leahy in centre field here for Helston, up to the 22. Best attacking opportunity of this game so far. Knox gets it away, the little kick over the top then by Lockwood. Just going out, an awkward bounce. I'm joined now in the commentary box by England international Damien Hopley. Very warm welcome, Damien.
Thank you, Bob. And good to see the Helston fly half finally using the ball and running it with his backs.
So, great attacking opportunity here for Helston then. Although, first of all, they'll have to pinch the ball on the medicals throw. Simon Atkinson putting in, again towards the middle. Good leap too, again by Kozlowski. And safely away. Excellent kick upfield by the medicals outside half, Matthew Bond. So great for the players from the junior, from the lower divisions to get the opportunity here at Twickenham, Damien.
That's right, a fantastic opportunity, and they'll obviously be loving every minute of this final. You can tell the tension amongst the crowd here, and they're obviously enjoying themselves. But it's a big result, and the players will be busting a gut to make sure they win and have their name on the Pilkington Shield at the end of the day.
Don't forget, this is the first instalment in a tremendous day of rugby here at Twickenham. Coming up later, of course, Leicester against Bath in the Pilkington Cup final, and that could be one of the great finals.
Let's hope so. After last week's Rugby League final, I think they've showed the way, and Rugby Union this week has got to do its bit to make sure that it's right up there at the end of the season with a great final.
So it's Helston then, very much in the driving seat so far in this game, but still pointless. Knocks away to Lockwood. Again, they're going to open it up, and again it goes to the outside centre, Leahy. This time the support was good from the Helston forwards. This time, though, Lockwood again kicking. And Angus Cragg getting the ball safely away on the right wing for the Medicals. Lovely sunny afternoon now then, as we await still the first try of this game. Chris Johns in the middle of the line out for the Cornishman. Rob Eagle successfully there to Elliott. But the problem having a man you're going to throw to at the front of the line out, it's not the best ball to use in attack very often, is it?
Well, that's right. Surely the ball towards the end of the back of the line out will help the backs in terms of them getting over the gain line quickly. Mr. Laerty has been doing some great work there once he's got the ball. So really, Helston should be looking to throw the ball towards the back of the line out and use the advantage they've got in the backs.
The Medicals did it to excellent purpose that time. Bonner, he'll certainly want to open it up. Strong man Duncan Melville in centre field. Bonner gets it away. Here's a chance for counter-attack then. Ed Davis looking to release Fretwell. Good tackle though by Mark Busby. But now it's the skipper, Dave Booth, leading the charge for the Medicals. Just a few metres out now. This their first attacking opportunity of this game. Referee looks as if he's also playing an advantage to the Medicals. Bonner. Ball just going loose there. The tackle on Duncan Melville. But referee Pearson has brought them back, playing an advantage that time to the Medicals. And the youngsters at last breaking the stranglehold.
Fantastic play there from the Medicals, using the space and using their options wisely. And at long last been rewarded with a penalty, which they've opted to run, which is good to see.
So it's Tim Peach, the scrum half then, with this set move, as the Medicals look for the first try of this game. Tapped in. Oh, just lost. Oh, so close. Rich Kozlowski going in there for the try in the first instance, the flanker. But the ball just lost, but that was a nice move, Damien.
Absolutely, a well-worked move here. Using all the decoy runners, Kozlowski gets the ball, pops it up there and inches away from a try. I'm sure they'll be talking about that in the clubhouse for years to come.
As we look at it again, plenty of variations. One of the moves, obviously, they've been using in practice over the last few weeks.
And Andy Greenwood will be desperately disappointed he didn't get over there for a score. So close, but unfortunately, the ball not sticking this time.
Both sides needing to tend to injured players at the moment. The more serious is the Helston hooker here, Rob Eagle. Sounded as if he actually put a finger out. So as we await the score, we can have a look again maybe to see what happens here. There was the tackle. And obviously injured his hand, making the challenge there. Well, in fact, injury too for the man who looked to score that try, Rich Kozlowski. Both men happily have recovered. So, defensive ball then, 5 metre scrum for Helston. They have the weight. And easily back then to David Lockwood to relieve the lines as we still await the first try of this game. But at last, just a glimpse there of maybe what we can expect later in this game.
Absolutely, once more we see the Medicals really putting the pressure on Helston. That was good set piece play by Helston. They had to clear their lines, did so well, relieved the pressure. Medicals have now got the put in and should have the advantage, and let's hope we can see the ball moving freely between the backs and possibly score.
Well, Dave Booth, their 21-year-old captain, proving to do some sterling work as Bonner brings in Marriott from fullback. Now the quick release is needed. Pitch just short of the line. Popped up then, but Cave this time can't take it. A great chance there for Henry Cave, the tight head prop. But a shame from the Medicals' point of view that it wasn't a centre who was there, maybe.
Great play from Mark Marriott, brought in very well by John Bonner, and did extremely well to create that space. Took a good line, some solid defence from the Helston midfield. But really, this was a golden opportunity for the Medicals to cross for the score. But once more, their handling just let them down. I think Anai just taken off the ball there. And the big opportunity goes begging.
Yep, Henry Cave saw all the glory coming up. Took his eye off the ball, though. Oh, Lockwood in trouble. Well, that ball ended up around his knees somewhere and couldn't get it away.
I don't think he'll be thanking his scrum half for this ball. Took his eye off it, obviously saw the Medicals pressure coming at him and decided the best option with 3-on-1 was to dot the ball down and concede the 5-yard scrum.
But there was the power of Helston, but still possession here for Cragg. Can't get over, though.
Good defence there from Helston, back row coming off well. And just putting the winger out into touch.
So it's a defensive ball into the line-out this time then for the Cornishman. And this time maybe the safe ball to Elliott at the front would be the one to go for. No, indeed, that's a very dangerous one indeed. Strange decision there by Rob Eagle, giving the Medicals a chance to steal the ball there. And Helston, at the end of the day, lucky to get away with it. Halfway through the first half then. Still pointless. And these matches in the last few years have been all tight affairs. Knox, again a difficult ball, gets it away cleanly this time, but that's not a good kick. There was an offside though. The flankers on the Medical side, both offside. So a chance then for Helston to clear their lines. Well, it's amazing to think Helston, tiny little club in Cornwall, they have just a tin shack, that's all it can be described as a changing room. They have a 1-year lease on their ground, but they have a thriving junior section, 100 youngsters involved, and looking to build on what is already a thriving game down in the Duchy of Cornwall.
And it's fantastic for junior rugby that such a club can come to Twickenham and play where all the greats have run out in years gone by. Fantastic for them, and hopefully a good day for the club as a whole if they can get the result they want.
Rob Ebel short this time then for Elliott, but the Medicals have done well to steal it there. Pitch out to Bonner. The long missed pass to Davis. Lovely angles of running that time by Fretwell. Support too from Davis. Now this is where the Medicals want to get the ball. They've done so. Pitch releases Bonner. Good covering at the end of the day by Stephen Pollard, the left wing for Helston. But Damon, as the game goes on, the Medicals look to have a bit more of a pattern about their play.
Certainly, they're using the blind side very well, and their options at halfback are being taken very, very well. One would see that from the space that they're using, and they're capitalising on the quick ball they're getting from their back row. So there's no doubt the Medicals are starting to take a stranglehold on this game, and the pressure is undoubtedly on Helston as the game goes on.
So here's a real challenge then for the Helston defence this time. Again, Booth has gone in and taken it, but again, that's not straight. Only about 3 or 4 metres offline. But certainly Dave Booth, the fresh-faced 21-year-old skipper of the Medicals, the product of Barnard Castle School, Rob Andrew, and the Underwood brothers, of course, also came from that school.
I've no doubt Rob Andrew will be casting an eye over this afternoon's exertions to see if there are any players of the future that he could buy up for the club.
Certainly. So, all the throw-ins at the scrums have been for Helston so far. So the continuing battle then between Cave and Savas on this side of the scrum. Again, the scrum goes down. So they'll have to go down again, and once again it'll be a defensive ball for Helston.
It's a key scrummage for Helston. They have to make sure the set pieces work well and that Lockwood can clear the lines and relieve the pressure.
Sid Savas, who's an aircraft engineer with the Royal Navy at RN Culdrose. Simon Atkinson, happy to take his place then in the middle of the medicals front row. Knox is held, and here's a chance. Oh, just short of the line that time. Hocking, the full-back, just holding up the man with the ball. Good defensive play by Helston, but surely a try has to come for the medicals.
Well, that was great defence there from Helston. Really, it's the joy of the Pilkington Shield. There's such great defence. Players know that the result will depend upon these last-ditch tackles. Good ball presentation there for the medical side, but unfortunately someone getting a bit carried away and deciding he was going to go hell for leather and score himself when really quick ball is needed so the Helston backs can be used as effective they have been all afternoon.
Well, surprising to see that the Helston scrum having a few problems near their own line here. Scrum half pitch has been putting pressure on his opposite number, but Knox did well to get it away that time to David Lockwood, and the PE teacher did well to clear his lines.
See this going backwards at knots per hour. Well played by David Lockwood, which puts that ball into touch, and the forwards will be breathing a sigh of relief.
So, quite an interesting seesaw clash so far in this game then. Helston certainly starting the better, the more experienced. That's the youngsters from the medicals have certainly learnt pretty quickly in this game. Andy Greenwood the flanked as well that time. Drop goal attempt by Bonner. It's there. What a good shot that was. Matthew Bonner, the dental student, the product of Queen Elizabeth Grammar School in Wakefield, finally then breaks the deadlock. Matthew Bonner.
Wonderfully struck drop kick, and really Rob Andrew could have done better himself. Great 3 points there for the medicals, and well deserved. They had to come away with some points in that area and have done so, and now the pressure's back on Helston.
So that might well now open up this game. Matthew Bonner, who in fact has been having some lessons from Rob Andrew and also Dave Aldred, but it's his partner Tim Peach making the first break that time. Peach again to Bonner. That time though, now it's on the full. They look an interesting combination, these two halfbacks.
Absolutely, and you can tell that they're very much the engine behind this team. They're making the good decisions on the pitch. Tim Peach there making a lovely half break, and you can tell they'll definitely get confidence in those 3 points. They've now got on the scoreboard.
Three points to nil then, to medicals, as Rob Eagle wants to have maybe a new set of shorts. Contrasting fortunes for these two teams in the build-up to the competition. Helston had 6 home games. In contrast, medicals had 6 away games. On their way to Twickenham, they only played at home once, so they did particularly well to reach the final, given the draw in this competition. Eagle into the line out again then. This time for Johns. Good support for the jumper by Helston. Moving up the Cornishmen now then. Again though, they keep it tight. Gary Hannaford. Now Dave Knox wants it quickly, gets it, pops it up once again for Elliott. That's a good charge by the 38-year-old. Again they keep it tight for Savas. Searching questions here of the Medicals' defence. But surely now, they must switch it wider. Popped him in centre field for Hocking. Dave Savage, number 12, trying to maul the ball back. Referee again playing an advantage here to Helston, but he has to bring them back for the penalty for offside here. So a great chance then for Helston to bring the sides level after half an hour of play in the first half. And it'll be the outside half, Dave Lockwood, with his second attempt at the posts.
Desperate defence here from the Medicals. Good build-up work by Elliott, Savas, and then Mark Hocking taking a good ball in to the Medicals midfield. Really the pressure told, and now an easy penalty to get the scores level.
Yes, in contrast to his first attempt, just inside the Medicals' half. Dave Lockwood pushing up yet again to 200 points for the season, as he's done regularly in his 19 years with the club. Oh, well, what a let-off that one for the Medicals then. And maybe the Medicals' name is on this shield.
Well, Dave Hocking will be kicking himself for that one. Really was a poor kick. The head came up. I think Chris Waddle would have been pleased with that one.
And immediately the Medicals have moved play back once again into Helston territory. And certainly as the game goes on, Matthew Bonner and his men look to be rather more assured. The Medicals very well prepared for this game, just about shading the lines, but certainly they've had the quality ball, in particular through this man Dave Booth, the skipper, leading very much by example. Just knocked on by a Medicals' hand, but available there for Dave Knox, opening it up for Rob Eagle. Tackling is good though by Dave Reeve that time. There'll be a scrum here to Helston should they need it. Well, Philly, let's drive was held up really, but possession's still there on the Cornwall side. Lockwood keeping the ball alive. Tim Peach underneath it. Would have thought maybe it would have been better for the taller Mark Murray at the fullback to come up and claim that one. Just inside the Medicals' half then, and referee John Pearson wants that ball out. It's not going to come though. The maul was static, so the referee gives the scrum down to Helston. Interesting figures there, very tight. But it's the Medicals who lead by 3 points to 0, thanks to Matthew Bonner's drop goal. But here's possession again then for Helston, but again they've kept it tight and short to Sid Savas. Knox kicking for position. Angus Cragg at the end of the day having to play it. Little man on the right wing from Northallerton Grammar School. So, here's another chance then, as time goes on in this first half for Helston to get back into it. Now here, they'll be looking for a catch and a drive, and maybe make use of their flanker, Adrian Punter. We haven't seen much of him as yet. That's him with the ball. Leading try scorer in this side. Knox pops it up again for Elliott. But he was looking to set up the play almost before he had the ball. And there surely Helston should really move it away from there a little bit.
That's right, they're using the tight forward, Sabas, Elliott, Punter, just trying to create holes on the side of the rucks. But really, I think the space is going to be out wide, where Lockwood can unleash some of his players, such as Lairty, who've made such holes this afternoon, so hopefully he can get the ball in his hands. And we'll see it going a bit wider.
Simon Tregonning at number 8, controlling it then for Knox. Popped up in centre field for Lairty. Good tackling there by the Medicals, but still problems. Just out, Adrian Punter from the line. Again, the referee looks to be playing an advantage to Helston. And in the end, no option but to blow it up. Second penalty in a few minutes then, right in front of the posts for Helston. And surely this time they'll make it pay.
It's a shame now. I thought John Pearson might have played a bit more advantage, because Helston had numbers out there and really could have scored 7 points. As it is, they're probably going to take the 3 if we don't have a repeat of the last catastrophe. But this should be an easy kick once more.
Yes, I'm sure Dave Lockwood will keep that head perfectly still this time. Been in the game a long time. So he's managed to hit the woodwork with both his previous efforts. This time takes all the care needed for the kick. So with time running out at the end of the first half, Dave Lockwood's first success has brought Helston back into it. 3 points all. And Damien, I think we might well have a good second half in our hands.
But you can sense certainly the sides are starting to live up to the occasion, and they're really trying to put the pressure on each other. It's a very, very even match, and the commitment that's being shown here is outstanding. So hopefully this will go on into the second half, and possibly might see the ball go through the fly half's hands a few times.
Just 3 minutes then of normal time to go at the end of this first half. There'll be a little bit of injury time. Well, Hanniford bundled over there by the Medicals forwards. Now Peach, little gap for him, looking for support, setting it up for Dunborough. Second phase possession, it's Dave Reeve, but lost, and it's Christian Johns who takes it in again for Helston. And Lockwood, the point scorer, rather a tired kick that time. So Fretwell linking with Mark Marriott. Dave Knox underneath it though to take the mark. Dave Knox, ex-Navy man, now works as a policeman in St Ives, keeping a careful eye on the ball there.
Good job and chase there from Mark Marriott, but really we'd like to see the ball in the hands a little bit more. I think both sides are relying on the kick as a form of attacking, and it's a great shame they can't trust, or they don't rely on their own pace and hands to outflank the defences.
Both sides keeping full lines up to this stage. Seems to be a little bit of a hold-up, and in fact, yeah, the reason is the wrong man, the wrong hooker putting the ball in. So it's Simon Atkinson. Again, the Medicals moving their line-out forwards around. Number 6, Kozlowski, we see there jumping at 2. Dave Reeve is at the back. There's been a little knock-on in there by a Medicals player. I think, in fact, it was scrum half Tim Peach. Shame that, because the possession was there for them to use.
And the blind side was actually opened up quite nicely. Great shame there, Tim Peach. And that's one of the problems. Just some of the basic handling errors have been slightly woeful today.
Tregoning to Knox then. Attacking down through Busby now on the right wing. Well, nice to see a bit of initiative shown there by Helston.
And I think as the defence is getting tighter and tighter, both sides are going to have to look at exploiting the short side as a form of attacking option, because that's where the space is going to be coming.
Yes, compared to playing on their normal club pitches, this must be like playing on the moon, I should think.
It's a fantastic opportunity for them. And they're obviously enjoying themselves thoroughly.
Bonner up then to full-back Mark Hocking. The skipper does well. Told by referee Pearson in no uncertain terms to make sure he plays the ball immediately. There have been a few knock-ons there. So it's the ball then for the Medicals in a nice central position.
It's a well-taken catch there by Mark Hocking. Great follow-up from the Medicals midfield. And really the numbers coming to the ball too slowly. And that first knock-on going against the Helston side.
Yes, the little handling errors costing the Medicals dear so far. They might well have scored a try or two. Andy Greenwood, one of the elder statesmen in the Medical side, 34-year-old dentist. So, options then for the Medicals on both sides of this scrum. Finally the ball gets out to Angus Cragg, showing a good burst of speed. And that was nice thinking. Matthew Bonner moving to the blind, allowing Mark Murray to come up from full-back.
Good play here for the Medicals, using the ball out wide. But good cover by Steve Pollard. Managed to track his man into touch and make sure no danger was there.
Almost a couple of minutes then into injury time at the end of this first half. It's Christian Johns, this time successful with the leap for Helston. Lockwood making good use too of the wind there, gauged it properly, gauged it well, to take Helston back into the Medicals half. No time for any more. Interesting first half. There might well be some good rugby to come in the second period though, but as we leave it, the score at half-time, Helston 3, Medicals 3. Some good rugby in the score in the second half of this game. Rejoin us, and also of course the Pilkington Cup final coming up after this.
Welcome back to Twickenham. At half-time then, in the Pilkington Shield final, it's Helston 3, Medicals 3. All the points coming from the boot. The second half coming up in a few moments. Some young fans there enjoying their day out at Twickenham. And, of course, the Silver Jubilee Pilkington Cup final between Bath and Leicester gets underway at 3. But remember, we're at half-time now in the Pilkington Shield final between Helston and Medicals. Let's now rejoin our commentary team of England international Damien Hopley and Bob Simmons.
Thanks very much, David. It's the Medicals who will get the second half underway through their outside half, Matthew Bonner. Very interesting history, the Medicals. Founded back in 1898 as Durham University College of Medicine. And the club has in fact produced 4 internationals, including a certain Dr. F.E. Chapman, who was the first man, would you believe, to score a try at Twickenham. And that was back in 1910, the first game here against Wales. In fact, he scored all 11 points that day in England's victory. More recently, Derek Morgan, WGD Morgan, England number 8 in the 1960s, but better known these days as a previous England manager and selector, and of course still on the RFU executive. Matt Bonner gets the game underway then, a man whose drop goal got the scoreboard moving in the first half. His opposite number, Dave Lockwood, then kicking the penalty at the third attempt to bring the sides level. Everything to play for then in this game. Very interesting contrast of styles. Helston playing the typical Cornish game, trying to keep it tight, while the Medicals look to use their possession a little bit more. Booth again gets first hand to it, and Tim Peach, he's a real little live wire at scrum half. Good support too from Fredwell. Here's a great chance, out to Peach. Oh, just couldn't take the ball. But he's a lovely little player, this scrum half, Damon.
That's right, turning up all over the place. Good support play, lovely break there from Peach. Good support play inside, and perhaps if the ball had gone back inside again, he might have had the first try on the board. But unfortunately that pass just going astray, and good defence there from Helston, keeping the Medicals out.
So the crowd growing at Twickenham as the sides look for the first try. Peach just held up that time by Edel. Good ball retention that time though by the Medicals. Kozlowski with the ball in his hands. Reeve, the second row, there too, staying on their feet well. Peach then to Bonner, goes for another drop. Just wide this time, but referee Pearson had again been playing an advantage to the Medicals. A high tackle, he says. In there, Dan Burrow was the man who had the high tackle on his neck. So, chance then for Matt Bonner to give the Medicals the lead once more. Have a look at the high tackle again. It was inside, in fact, on the loose head prop, Dunborough, I think. Andy Greenwood, in fact, it was. So we need a replacement on the Medical side, and it's John Bank, the number 16, who comes onto the field. John Bank, 26-year-old school teacher, getting into the action then for the Medicals. Difficult kick wide out then for Matthew Bonner. That's close, just drifting wide though. So, Helston escape, but certainly the Medicals look to be the brighter outfit. Up very quickly that time was Simon Tregonning, number 8 for Helston. But the Medicals again, and another chance for Peach to go. Linking then with Cave, out to Craggs. Another handling error though, letting them down just at the last moment, but surely the try's got to come.
Good hands there from Henry Cave. He's really become, obviously had something in his half-time oranges, and he's come out really fighting the second half. Good ball there from Peach. And Cave shows good hands, good distribution. And then who's the man coming up to tackle the fullback? Henry Cave, obviously keen to get over that Twickenham line for his first score.
Great chance then for the Medicals. But it's Tregonning, number 8, does the tidying up work, but that's untidy. First touch then for the replacement. John Bank almost over. And surely the ball must come back here. Good tackle again though by Helston. Peach spreading it to Bonner. Into Davis. And here's a try for Fretwell. At last then, we have the first try of this game. Richard Fretwell, the left winger for the Medicals, scored a try in their semi-final win and 2 in the quarter-final. They've always thought he could be a match winner.
It's a great score, well-worked try here. Bonner holding up the ball nicely, and out it comes. Very well timed pass, and Richard Fretwell crossing for a great score, and a really well deserved score for the Medical side. They've been pressurising the Helston line for a good few minutes. Well worked move, the decoy runner coming in, holds up the Helston defence, and across goes Fretwell for a good score.
Yes, and Duncan Melville, the centre, was doing some great work there in support to give the scoring pass, coming around on the loop. Bonner then looking to add the extra points. That's better. That's a fine shot. So the Medicals then maybe getting the score they deserve for their enterprising play. And lovely angles of running here, Damon.
That's right, a lovely cut-out pass there. The decoy runners, as we've said, coming in. And then a well-timed pass at the end, just to put Fretwell in. And the Helston defence at 6 and 7, struggling to cope with all the decoy runners coming at them. And the timing of the pass puts Fretwell in for a good score.
So let's see then if Helston can change their game plan. They surely need to if they're going to get back into this game. They'll have to do something about that little man Tim Peach. Certainly potential match winner, the scrum half for the Medicals, but his partner Matthew Bonner in some trouble in his own 22, and in fact there was an offside. Medical players encroaching within 10 metres. So here's a chance then for Helston to get back immediately. Another chance then for Dave Lockwood. Just that one success from in front of the posts in the first half, contributing Helston's 3 points to date. So you can be sure that he'll take his time over this one. Could be a very important kick indeed for his side. It's Twickenham ground, a very difficult one for goal kickers. Difficult to gauge exactly what the wind is doing. Seems to be pretty quiet for the moment. Well struck, beautifully struck by Dave Lockwood. We have quite a game on our hands here. The Cornishmen are back in it through the second successive penalty by Lockwood. 10-6 now, the Medicals lead.
Great kick from Dave Lockwood. This will give his side enormous heart. At a time when the Medicals are stretching away to 10-3, that kick has brought them right back into the game. And Helston now back in with the shout of winning this Pilkington Shield.
Simon Tregonning, the number 8 for Helston, getting hands to it, but they've lost the possession. Another chance for Peach to snipe. Booth. Now then, what makes you think he's a second row forward?
I think Rob Andrews just torn up his contract.
He's done superbly well though, Dave Booth, the 21-year-old skipper. Valuable ball in the line-out for his side.
Obviously a linchpin in the line-out for the Medicals. They're throwing a lot of ball to him, and to be honest, he's taking all his ball and creating a lot of problems for the Helston side as well in their line-outs.
Bank the replacement. First underneath the ball. Peach again looking at the options. Bonner going for a position at the corner, but just too long.
That's unfortunate there for Bonner. The right idea, just trying to turn the Helston side, put them on their back feet. And I've been very impressed by Peach and Bonner today. I think they've combined extremely well at half-back and are dictating the play extremely well for the Medicals.
So again, it's a full line. I don't think we've had one shortened line so far in this game. In towards the main man, Elliott, for Helston. Good drive. Ken keeping it short. Peach setting it up once again. Simon Atkinson, the hooker, in there. Good movement there too, from the lighter pack. Not a good one that time by Bonham to Mark Hocking. Little option though, but to send it back to his opposite number, Mark Marriott. Now this could be dangerous if Helston move it quickly. Space out wide here for them. Leahy looking to release the ball away quickly, the centre. But it's rather too slow for Helston. Knox decides to go down the blind side at the end. But really that's been the problem, hasn't it, for Helston, to get that second phase ball away quickly, Damon?
That's right. The forwards a little bit too late arriving there. A quick ball had come. The Helston had numbers outside and really could have outstripped the Medicals and has got in for a score there. But good play here. Good awareness of where the support is. Good play from Leahy. He's presenting the ball as best he can despite the attentions of the Medicals midfield.
Good take at the line out again for the Medicals. And an excellent kick by Bonner. Classic case there of good possession from the pack, and then the half-backs combining well.
It's a great touch finder there from Bonner. Does extremely well to put his side 30 yards up the field.
Both sets of supporters then looking to lift their side for a big effort. Key part of the game this, the next 10 minutes or quarter of an hour. 10-6 to the Medicals. But possession for the stronger men of Helston. Rob Eagle, the hooker, going in there to try and release it. And here he comes for Knox, popping it up once again for Hannaford. Now they must get it ball away quickly. Again, they're forced, though, to kick. And really, Helston, Damien, must change their approach, really.
That's right, I'm sure Graham Dorr, if he's watching this, will be enjoying the sort of Cornish tactic. But really, the Helston backs are probably getting a bit bored out there and want to see some of the ball as soon as they can. This sort of power play from the forwards isn't really working, isn't making too many holes, because the Medicals' defence is extremely strong today.
Good attempt there for Mark Busby to keep it in. Good piece of athleticism, but as we saw there, just over the touchline.
Wayne Sleep would be proud of that.
Phil Elliott again waiting at the front of the line there. Beautiful two-handed take. Good drive by the Helston forwards, staying on their feet superbly well. Popped up once again, this time for Tregoning. But they're not really getting anywhere.
Again, big defence around the fringes from the Medical side. They really are putting in the tackles where it counts, but an offside decision against them should give them a kickable penalty, put them back in the game.
Yep, I think the offside was in centre field somewhere. Edward Davis, the centre, in fact, I think the guilty man, but that was a fine drive.
Absolutely, great body positions there. We see them driving low to the centre of ground and a pop-off ball, but it's all becoming a bit too predictable for Helston. And as we see the Medicals' defence just lining up the opposition and putting them back with some great tackling.
So Dave Lockwood hasn't really made the Medicals pay for giving away the penalties. Two misses, one a long range one, it must be said, from just inside the Medicals half, but the other one in front of the posts. This attempt by Lockwood then in the central position. Important kick for Helston. Chips it up quite nicely, but overjudged it. Just drifting wide of the left-hand post as he looked at it. So, not a happy man at the moment, Dave Lockwood.
Dave Lockwood now has got to put that out of his mind and get on with the rest of the game. He can't let these penalty misses get him down too much, otherwise the Helston side will lose their way.
Bonner all the way down then from Mark Hocking. Loves to counter-attack the Helston skipper. Goes for the support this time of Laity. He's looked a good runner. Good support too by Gary Hannaford. Now Helston want to make use of this ball. Ruck ball this time. Knox probing on that blind side. Alive once again then on the Helston side. Out to Elliott the lock. Now the chance to switch it. The oldest man on the field, Dave Savage, takes it up. Sprightly 42-year-old, strong running there. And recycling it again for Elliott. Helston just about 15 metres out then. Adrian Punter, the flanker, going in. Big questions being asked here of the Medicals' defence. Lockwood back again to strength. But again, the ball is slowed. Finally, into centre field then for Dave Savage. Again, looking to go back towards the strength. Again, Knox has the ball available. Again, pops it up this time for Ted Blanford, the prop. Now, surely they'll spread the ball wide this time. Laity. High tackle on him by Duncan Melville. Again, the referee waits for an advantage. He's taking them back, in fact, for an earlier offside. So it's back near the touchline. So here, a question for Helston. Do they go for goal or not? Scrum half Dave Knox is their second goal kicker, but he's a left footer. Not a good position for him to attempt the goal from that side, and deciding in fact to go for the 5 or maybe 7 points. On the charge, Elliott the dummy man. Knox still going across field. Dave Savage just couldn't take it though, and maybe just overcomplicating things just a little there. Ball still alive then. Mark Marriott on the 22. Well, Damon, that was a great chance for Helston, and they might well rue not doing something a little different there.
That's right. I mean, they've been going back to their forwards all day and relying on their forwards really to punch holes, and it's becoming a little predictable, as we've already said. So hopefully Mark Busby and Stephen Parr will be screaming for the ball on the wings, and we might actually see the ball go beyond inside centre. That was a golden opportunity, and they'll be very upset they didn't come away with points from that prime attacking opportunity.
The Bath players have arrived at the ground, and certainly we've heard Graham Dorr mentioned. Proud Cornishman, played many times for his country, as of course as Martin Hart, the second row. Now the loose ball, maybe, that the Medicals will like to use. Good hands that time. Bonner switching it out again to Marriott. Support there from Richard Kozlowski. Bank, the replacement, does well. Popped up this time for the hooker, Simon Atkinson. Tinkler, the number 8, and Kozlowski in there too. Bonner kicking wide here for Angus Cragg. Interesting kick.
Very well worked kick, but again, we'd like to see the ball travel a wee bit further than the fly half. A good service again from Tim Peach. And Matthew Bonner angling the kick into the corner over the winger's head. And again, a good opportunity for Medicals to press and possibly score. I think the sides are now starting to get a wee bit tired. It's been played at a ferocious pace, this game, and slowly their fitness levels are starting to tell. And I think the Medicals, who seem to have a slightly more spring in their step, could be the stronger finishers.
Referee John Pearson questioning whether the man injured in centre field was alive or not. Happily he is. Edward Davis. Defensive ball again then for Helston at the line out here. Medicals in the lead, 10 points to 6. This time the Cornish side getting the possession and moving successfully up the touchline. Oh. So the replacement, just to remind you there, number 16, John Bank, on for the Medicals in place of Andy Greenwood. Again, Tim Peach changing things there at the base of the scrum. That's Steve Pollard. Catches that cleanly and successfully for Helston. So the Bath boys then, looking on at this game, looking forward with great anticipation, as indeed we all are, to the great tussle in prospect between Leicester and Bath coming up, of course, here on Sky Sport this afternoon, kicking off at 3. So we've played an hour then in this Pilkington Sheet final. The Medicals from Newcastle, from Tyne and Wear, leading by 10 points to 6. And a big 10 minutes now for these two teams. Again, popped up for Tregony. But there's a turnover again, I think. Medicals looking to wrestle this ball back. Dave Booth. Skipper does well. That's a better kick that time. Mark Busby, deep in defence for Helston. Well, the pressure is definitely on Helston now then. Mark Busby had the chance to clear his lines there. But good play again in the first place. Good thinking by Dave Booth.
Good pressure again from the Medicals. And I'm sure the Helston forwards won't be too pleased with that clearance by Mark Busby. That puts them back some 50 yards. And as they traipse back, they realise that the pressure's back on them. They've now got to defend stoutly again as Medicals come pressing on their line.
So, great chance then for the Medicals, looking for their second try in this game. The first coming just after half-time by their left winger, Richard Fretwell. Pitch gets it away to Bonner. Popped up for Melville to create second phase. Kozlowski in support the flanker. Pitch just not be able to get away first time. Cave though keeps it going. Atkinson the hooker too. Drop goal chance. Bonner, that's a second. Well, good play by the prop Henry Cave, helping to set it up. Second drop goal then for Matt Bonner.
Good ball again from Tim Peach, and really split-second decision to take the drop goal. And it's supremely executed there by Matthew Bonner. It's a great drop goal to put the Medical side further ahead.
Yep, very important score. They are now 7 points clear of Helston. Must get a try and conversion to get back into this game. But they've not really looked all that dangerous. Mark Hocking, plenty of time to clear his lines, the Helston skipper. But really, the clever money, I think, must be on the Medicals now, Damien.
That's right, they seem to have all the attacking options, despite the fact they're kicking away a lot of good possession when they're running the ball. The Medicals seem to be getting a stranglehold on this game, and Helston are struggling for options. They're turning back to their forwards time after time. The Medicals defence is more than happy to soak that up, and there doesn't seem to be much on offer outside.
It's that man Booth, the skipper, taking good ball in the line out again for the Medicals. Mismoved them this time in centre field. Up at good pace was the fullback Marriott. Out to Fretwell. Whoa, that's a beautiful take by Edward Davis. Back inside here for Melville. Does he get there? Nope. Wow, that move certainly deserved a try.
Fantastic play there from the Medicals' backs. And some lovely timing of the passes, and also some very well directed passes. Every time the players are running onto the ball as these weighted passes came on. Fantastic play.
What good support play. Man there to aid the ball carrier each time. The two centres, but Melville just held up short.
Good play from Fretwell, draws his man in very well. Puts the ball outside to Edward Davis. Again foxes the opposition, and it seemed like Duncan Melville was going to get there.
Oh.
I think he'll be down the track next Monday.
Inches short.
Bit of speed training there.
The pressure still on Helston. Chance for the Medicals, surely to tie this one up. Reeve in to bank the replacements. Tim Peach calling for it. Not a good pass though this time, but Melville creating the second phase ball into Reeve. Kozlowski is there too. Good support play by the forwards. Bonner goes for a hat-trick of drop goals. What a day for Matthew Bonner. A hat-trick of drop goals at HQ. This is a day he'll remember for the rest of his life.
Fantastic play from Matthew Bonner. Good set-piece play. The forwards taking the ball on, and the platform created for Matthew Bonner. Take his leg back and strike one of those lovely drop goals to put the Medicals further ahead. I'm sure his answer phone will be full of messages from Newcastle by the time he gets back.
16 points to 6 then to the Medicals. Really in the driving seat then. At least 2 scores clear now of Helston. And a fine kick upfield once again by Bonner.
And I think unless Helston decide to play a bit more expansively and use their backs, then the Medicals will have this game in the bag. Again, the half-backs operating in tandem, doing extremely well, and a great clearance from Matthew Bonner, who seems to be having a wonderful day out.
So, can Helston get back into this game? First phase possession from the line-out for Helston. Now having to open it up then. Leahy. Good tackling though. Bonner the outside half up quickly. And no option there for Dave Lockwood, but to get in the kick. So certainly the Medicals have all the answers so far in this game. And that's one reason Helston were fancied to win this phase of play. But Dave Booth, in particular, the skipper of the Medicals, has done superbly. There we are, 12 of the 21 takes by one man. And that's a 13th. It's fallen though on the Helston side. Lockwood, Leahy on the dummy run this time. Hocking from fullback, kicking through for Pollard. And at least the skipper, Mark Hocking, has taken Helston back again into the Medicals 22.
Good play there from Hocking. Really, the option was on to move the ball, and questions must be asked as to why they're not putting the ball through the hands and trying to take Medicals on man to man.
Yes, Dave Savage was coming up in support of Mark Hocking, but he didn't quite see him. Again, it's that man Booth, number 5. And cleanly away once again then by Bonner. Well, really, it's good to see on the Medical side, Damon, the quality of the thinking and the preparation for this game from a side down there in Durham and Northumberland Division 1.
That's right. I mean, British clubs or English clubs certainly have often been accused of not thinking on the pitch, and we see a great example here of the side who are actually strategically thinking how they're going to play. And the halfbacks, as we've said all afternoon, have taken control of this game. They decided not to run into the Helston forwards, who are very strong, as we've seen, a very physical side. But they've used their backs extremely well, and their kicking game has been very precise, and has put them in positions, parts of the field where they want to play. It's refreshing to see a side who think on their feet.
Helston, at the end of the day, giving away the penalty. Some pushing and shoving there. And the Medicals then able to move upfield once again. Just under 10 minutes of normal time to go at the end of this game. Good curtain raiser, entertaining curtain raiser to the big match coming up, kicking off at 3 o'clock, of course. Pilkington Cup final, Bath against Leicester. And we'll have all the build-up for you too. Again, it's the trusty combination of line-up man Dave Booth and the boot of Matthew Bonner, moving the Medicals again up to the Helston, up to their own 10-metre line rather.
And you can see now the Helston heads are starting to drop. The game is slowly drifting away from them, and certainly the backs are getting slightly frustrated, not seeing much of the ball. So they'll be hoping they can win this line-up ball and possibly put some play into action.
I think that one was nearer to Cornwall than it was to the middle of the line-out.
The wind obviously picking up here at Twickenham.
Ted Bluntford, tight head prop on this side of the scrum for Helston. So it's quite rare for Tim Peach actually to feed a scrum. Good driving again from the set scrum by the Medicals. Getting it away, Peach again to Bonner. All the way down to Hockin. He has got to think though about counter-attacking. He's a strong runner. Knox finally, the ball gets back for the scrum half. Then gives away the possession, kicking it out on the full.
Great shame there for David Knox. As we see, he's been passing the ball all afternoon, but really that situation deserved the ball to go out to Dave Lockwood and possibly the backs to launch an offensive on the Medicals. As time drifts away from them, they really must get back in this game by running at the opposition and hopefully scoring for a well-deserved try.
Tim Peach, the scrum half, just giving instructions then to Simon Atkinson where he wants this ball. Guess where that one's gone? Once again to Booth. And another chance then, Davis. Kick and chase this time. Not such a clever one. And Pollard back for the 22 dropout. Not much time left for Helston to win this game. 6.5 minutes of normal time. 16 points to 6. The Medicals lead. Good driving play again by the Medicals front row. Dave Reeve too, the old man of the side at 35. Rob Eagle then, the hooker, into the line out for Helston. Need quick ball this time. But again, it was Booth who got first hands to it. Now then, options here again then for the Medicals. Popped up short to Bank. Driven over well in the tackle, but the possession's been maintained. Bodies going over the top, with the referee playing an advantage. Another drop goal attempt by Bonner. That's an audacious one though. That's being a bit greedy, that. Surely three's enough.
A good service there from Dave Booth, who not only can catch the ball but throws out a lovely pass from scrum half. But Matthew Bonner struggling with that kick slightly. 3 is quite enough, as Bob says.
This time it's Helston who've managed to get the possession. Dave Knox, the scrum half, the Geordie, in the Helston lineup. We get a second chance. The referee had been playing an advantage there to Helston. Dave Knox, the scrum half, who actually played for Gosforth at junior level before joining the Navy and then moving down to Culdrose. Now PC Knox. Under 5 minutes to go then for Dave Lockwood and his men. Has had a kick very often, but on other occasions might have passed. Helston then going for the big push. On the drive, Gary Hannaford. They must go now in the next minute or so. It's Elliott. Look at that man move. Good quick ball too, for once. But again, they've slowed it down. Knox having a look again at the blind side. An easy clearance kick coming up for Angus Cragg. And the last chance that may be gone for Helston.
Great driving play from Phil Elliott there, really taking the opposition on single-handedly. But the ball has to be quick in those situations, so the backs are going to be released. And yet again, the medicals just tying up the ball, giving their defence time to reorganise, and thus snub out any more Helston attacks.
Quickly taken line up then, down towards the front by Helston. Again though, they've lost the possession. And Bonner safely away. Hat-trick of drop goals then by Matthew Bonner. But for me, I think his partner at scrum half, Tim Peach, has had as much of a key part to play in this victory.
Absolutely. Tim Peach has shone this afternoon alongside his fly half partner. He really has directed and sniped around the fringes of the scrummage and the ruck and the maul, and just given Helston a lot of problems there to defend against.
Successful defence again by the Medicals as time runs out at the end of this game. Looking forward, both sides, to an enjoyable day out to watch the Cup final coming up. So, 50th line out of the game. The figures tell us that the Medicals have just shaved it, but the quality possession, thanks to that man in particular, has been all theirs. Speculative little kick downfield that time by Bonner. Hocking now has to counter-attack. Good running. Now let's see if they can ruck it. Into the Medicals, who are moving forward, away to the replacement back. Tregonning and a few other bodies going to ground from the Helston side. But it's Medicals who'll get the put in at the scrum. One more chance for them. Hat-trick of drop goals and the try by Fretwell. The 16 points for Medicals. That ball taken by the Helston front row. Once again, the Helston back row, Punter and Hannaford combining, but again the possession is slow for them. So again, they look to pop it up short, this time for Eagle. But a bit of tugging off the ball by the Medicals. And still some spirit on the Helston side. Looking then to get what surely must be a consolation score We have moved into injury time at the end of this game. An injury, and a nasty looking injury in the middle of the field too, to a Medicals player. Henry Cave, I think, the Scotsman, playing on the tight head of the scrum for the Medicals. I think he's okay.
Looks like he just needs a drink.
I think it might be the first of many. Certainly not water, I don't think. So, it could well be then the last play of this game. Medicals looking maybe to bring on Craig Espy, but I doubt if he's going to get the opportunity.
How long now? Last minute, right?
This could be the last set-piece play of this Pilkington Shield final. They've certainly monopolised the line-out ball in this last 20 minutes of the game. But there's one more chance here for Helston to counter-attack Leahy. Pops it up again for Elliott. Dave Savage. Oh, why didn't they do this a lot earlier? In the end, a little handling error by Stephen Pollard, knocking it on.
I think the Medicals realising that the game is now in the bag for them, but Helston will be regretting the fact that they didn't spin the ball a lot earlier in this game. Because no doubt they had the talent out wide. They didn't seem to be too trusting in it, depending rather on their powerful forward pack.
Ken Bonner deciding to kick the ball down deep into Helston territory. Brings up an error from Mark Busby. So that's a problem for anybody playing on this ground. It's a problem for an international player, let alone somebody from Durham or Northumberland Division 1. But must be said, their fitness has been pretty good, Damon.
Outstanding, really. In fact, they've kept going for the entire 80 minutes, both sides, and made this such a competitive match. And really the commitment and passion that they've shown bodes very well for English rugby throughout the divisions. One only hopes that they can keep this up next season.
One more chance then for a second try. John Pearson finally gets them down again then.
I think the Medicals will be looking to score from here, just to crown off a great day out for all of them.
Pick up at the back there by Paul Tinkler, but a bit of an accidental offside, running into his own man. John Pearson has a look again at his watch, and at the end of the game it's the Medicals from Newcastle who take the Pilkington Shield. 16 points to 6, their victory over the brave men from Helston. One try from left winger Richard Fretwell, a conversion and 3 drop goals by outside half Matthew Bonner. Delighted Medicals team, fine victory for them and for their young skipper Dave Booth, who will be presented shortly with the Pilkington Shield. Great day for them, and Damon, they thoroughly deserve their victory.
Absolutely, they look the most inventive side out there. They tried to do as much as they can with their backs. They were securing great ball there from Dave Booth throughout the afternoon. He was the rock upon which this Medicals victory was built. And with the steady supply of ball, Messrs Peach and Bonner ran the show superbly at half-back, and a thoroughly deserved victory for the Medicals. They definitely look the most exciting side today.
16 points to 6, the full-time score. Then the Medicals take the Pilkington Shield. Back now to David Bowman.
Thank you, Bob, very much indeed. Our commentators on that match, the England international Damien Hopley and Bob Simmons. So the first part of our double-header coverage for this afternoon is now complete. Congratulations once again to Medicals, having beaten Helston. They are the 1996 Pilkington Shield champions.